Diane.
Yes, good morning, Tanya. Since you just mentioned about the LOI, I would like to ask you, I have one LOI from the buyer and then the counter offer from the seller. When do I need to use the purchase agreement, please?
Well, your LOI should say that. So, basically the whole purpose of an LOI is to get your basic terms together and get an agreement on the basic terms of the contract without having to negotiate all the detail back and forth a lot. So an LOI, it's going to set out the purchase price and sometimes it'll set out the terms. It's not going to have reps and warranties. It's not going to have a whole lot of detail, but generally it will have an expiration date, and it'll say that, it expires either upon signing a purchase agreement or at some date. And so you just want to make sure that you have your purchase agreement situated and signed by both parties before the LOI expires, because otherwise you have no deal, right? So generally, once I have a signed LOI or an accepted LOI, depending on circumstances, if I'm the one that's going to be preparing the purchase agreement, I get right on it and try and get it done as soon as possible. If an attorney is going to be doing the purchase agreement, then I send a copy of the executed LOI over to the buyer's attorney and say, here's the terms that have been agreed upon. Please prepare please prepare the purchase agreement, and we'll go from there.
Oh, so when the seller accepts the offer, that's where I'm prepared the purchase agreement. Am I correct?
Yeah. If once the seller accepts it, then you can go ahead and transfer that information into a purchase agreement and then get the other terms set up. So like your LOI may or may not have due diligence periods. Yes, you're going to need that in the purchase agreement. There are certain other things, but a LOI typically does have an estimated closing date. Yeah. So you want to transfer that over. It typically has the agreed upon price. Sometimes it has the breakdown of whether, a good faith deposit or earnest money deposit. If there's third party financing, it may indicate that, not always. So, LOIs are kind of, it just depends on who drafted it and how detailed it is. But Diane, you're in California, so if you use the CAB LOI, then it is pretty detailed, and most of that you can merge that straight into your purchase agreement, and your purchase agreement will be almost done.
No,
if
the
you're doing
buyer,
that in Legito.
Yeah, because the buyers email me the LOI, and they are equity capital. They was in New York.
Okay.
So I need to transfer to the purchase agreement then, because the seller accepted already.
Well, the seller accepted it, but you need to check with the buyer and find out, because the buyer may have their attorney do the purchase agreement. So if the buyer is going to have their attorney do it, then you need to just ask the buyer to go ahead and forward the executed LOI to their attorney so that they can get the purchase agreement started and send it over for review.
Thank you so much, Tanya. That answered my question. Thank you.
Sure.